I'm looking for a volunteer to sight read the scriptures today. And again, no big words. And there is a prize as usual. Oh, no, the prize is fun. You're not naming the prize. Okay, Jill, thank you. So today, the theme of today's service is, among other things, mercy. And I'd like you to be thinking about a moment when you think you received mercy. Someone forgave you or gave you something that you didn't expect. I'll be coming back to that in a few minutes. But I want to acknowledge that you are sitting in a community of faith full of merciful people who understand what it is to receive grace and be given something that may or may not have been deserved, but certainly give of themselves, out of their hearts, out of their generous spirits, out of their compassion for the sake of each other, because sometimes all of us need a little and sometimes a lot of mercy. We acknowledge today that the land is our mother, who continues to provide for our health and well-being. She supports us as we go about doing the work that we do. She also holds the memory of countless generations of ancestors who also were supported by her. Those ancestors tell us that no one owns the land. The land holds us. We are of the land. We all have a responsibility to be grateful and treat the earth as our mother. And so we do that as we come today. I invite you to share in our call to worship. It is responsive, and it's found on the bulletin. No matter where we are, God is with us. On the highest peaks, in the deepest oceans, wrapped in cool shadows, or in the bright midday sun. No matter where we are, God is with us. No matter where we are with God. O Holy One, as we begin this week, we begin it in grace. We begin it with a deep sense of gratitude for all that we enjoy and every blessing we understand. We begin this week together, knowing that we are a blessing to each other. We begin this week knowing that there will be days to come in which we will need mercy. And we pray that we will recognize it when we see it. And that it would not be a moment too late. We begin this week in the name of the Christ, who teaches us, is an example to us, and inspires us to new life. Amen. And as we do each week, we acknowledge the light of the Christ in our midst and the light which kindles in us that we will take with us after the service today and into our week. And we acknowledge that there are certain people in our lives who bring light to us in the name of Christ. People like the ones you're sitting beside. So I invite you to offer peace to each other. Peace to you.
The reading today is from Genesis 18, verses 20 to 32. Then the Holy One said, "How great is the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah, and how very grave their sin. I must go down and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry that has come to me, and if not, I will know." So the men turned from there and went toward Sodom, while Abraham remained standing before the Holy One. Then Abraham came near and said, "Will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city. Will you then sweep away the place and not forgive it for the 50 righteous who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous fare as the wicked. Far be it that from you shall not the judge of all the earth do what is just?" And the Holy One said, "If I find at Sodom 50 righteous in the city, I will forgive the whole place for their sake." Abraham answered, "Let me take it upon myself to speak to the Holy One, I who am but dust and ashes. Suppose 5 of the 50 righteous are lacking. Will you destroy the whole city for the lack of 5? And the Holy One said, "I will not destroy it if I find 45 there." Again he spoke to him, "Suppose 40 are there." The Holy One answered, "For the sake of 40 I will not do it." Then he said, "Oh, do not let the Lord be angry if I speak. Suppose 30 are found there." The Holy One answered, "I will not do it if I find 30 there." He said, "Let me take it upon myself to speak to the Holy One. Suppose 20 are there." The Holy One answered, "For the sake of 20 I will not destroy it." Then he said, "Oh, do not let the Holy One be angry if I speak just once more. Suppose 10 are found there." The Holy One answered, "For the sake of 10 I will not destroy it."
Thank you, Jill. So I did promise a prize to the reader. So here's my question for all of you. It's coming, just be patient. Man, you must be wonderful on your birthday. As it turns out, according to the story, were 10 found? Sodom and Gomorrah. So what happened? The Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Somebody fled and was told not to turn back. Do you remember who that was? Lot? No, not Lot. Lot's wife. And what happened to Lot's wife? She turned to a pillar of salt. Here is a pillar of salt for you. Ancient Mediterranean sea salt, as I am told. So if you're not able to use that now, I'm pretty sure that there'll be some ice showing up in the next 10 months that you'll be able to find a use for. We're continuing our theme of Porch Conversations, as was suggested to me by one of the committees in the church. And so this is sort of for those of you who haven't been here this summer yet, it's not really a free-for-all, but you're allowed to talk. So when I ask you questions, you can say things and ask questions and that kind of thing. So please do not be I know, it seems a little unbelievable that I would be telling this gang not to be shy, but I'm telling you not to be shy. So this is our last week on the cottage porch, and next week for the month of August, we're moving to the farm porch. Okay. Different fragrance, perhaps. We'll see. A little more, a little less pine, a little more corn ripening in the field. You did not think I was going to say that, did you? So let's talk about cottages for a second. What are the top 3 things at a cottage that need repairs? I researched this. Top 3 things. Docks. Docks are in the top 10, but not in the top 3. The sewage system is also in the top 10, but not in the top 3. It is not. Decks? No, decks aren't either. Roofs. Roof is number 1. Roof is the number 1 thing on a cottage that will be in need of repairs at some point. Number 2? Not the drain, no. Screen doors is number 3. Screens are the 3rd most fixed thing around cottages. I loved that. Very good. Number 2 is a place you might find hairline cracks that you can't ignore. Not the basement. The foundation. The foundation. So roof, foundation, screen. Not just screen doors, but screens. Right? Okay, so we're going to talk about repairs today, but we're going to start with a little bit of gossip as usual on the porch. Did you hear the story about the city that was not spared? Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, now here's the big test for your theological education. Why was Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed? What did they do wrong? They were very sinful. Yes, but why? How? In what way were they sinful? Salacious. They were not. It's not because they were salacious. They turned from God? They turned. Okay, so the answer is they didn't that they turned from God. They turned God away. 2 people along with God came to visit. And what were they told as strangers? You are not welcome. And in the ancient Near East, one of the primary laws of behavior was you must grant welcome to any stranger who shows up in your midst. And some men in Sodom saw these 3 strangers at the gate, and they said, can't come in. You thought it was going to be about another sin, didn't you? Because that's what we're told by many people. It is not. Their problem was that they did not practice hospitality. And they picked exactly the wrong people to not practice it with because, according to the interpretation in Genesis that just happened before, it was 2 angels and God himself. You can't come in. And they were punished for their lack of hospitality. Fortunately, most of us do welcome people who show up at the door. We even have a little bit of time to prepare for that. We might even have a few snacks out on the porch just in case one of the neighbors wanders by. But even strangers were to be welcomed. And if they were not welcomed, they were subject to judgment. And as it turns out, these people were so close-minded that there wasn't one of them who would have welcomed the strangers into their midst, provided shelter for them, safety, drink, food. That was the great sin of Sodom and Gomorrah. They did not practice hospitality. Now the story gets really interesting because here's Abraham, and he starts to bargain for the lives of the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. Why does he do that? Because Lot, his nephew, lives there with his family. And somehow Abram managed to get word to them to get out before the disaster hit. Sadly for Lot's wife, according to the story, she didn't really want to go and she started to turn back. Abraham, though, starts to apparently bargain with God. But it's not really a bargain, because when you bargain with God, you're saying, okay, if you will get me through this exam, then I promise I will pray every day. If you will see me through this difficulty, then I promise if you will get me through how badly I'm feeling right now, I promise I will never drink again. Right? We make these bargains, these mental bargains. Now we kind of talk to ourselves, but that's what we understand by bargaining with God. Abram's not bargaining. He is calling on God's better nature to, if you will, the better natures of God. He's trying to negotiate a better deal for the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. And this is now becomes a test of will and of expectation. Aren't you the merciful one? That's the subtext. Aren't you the one who gives mercy to others? Well, yes, I am, so I will give mercy. So if there are 50 righteous people in Sodom and Gomorrah, I will spare the entire city. What if there are 45? And he gets God right down to 5. It's not bargaining. He's calling on God's better angels. He's trying to negotiate a better deal. Now, when we have to fix a roof or a foundation or a screen door, we sometimes bargain for a better deal. Can you do it a little more cheaply? Or how about if I pay you in cash? We're all good at bargaining for something a little bit better, a little more to our benefit, or sometimes for the benefit of others. But this is not about bargaining. It's about what in you evokes mercy. So now I ask, tell us about an experience of mercy that you had when someone was merciful to you. Heather.
I was driving home in the evening from Barrie, where I'd spent the weekend with an old friend, and I saw the light go on that one of my tires was flat, and so I pulled into a gas station, and I realized that I had left my purse. I had no money, no credit card, nothing with me. And it was starting to pour icy ice. Anyway, I just went in and I asked for the manager and I said, I'm at your mercy. I did. That's what I said. And I said, I don't have any money. I left this, I did this, I didn't do that. This is happening. Can you help me? She immediately called her husband. She said, go to the car and he'll be right out. So he came out and he checked my tire and he filled it up and he said, it's not, there's no repair needed, just needs some air. Anyway, I threw my arms around him and I said, thank you so much. It was amazing. Yeah. And she was an Indian name, Indian background. Yeah.
So you actually evoked mercy by saying, I'm at your mercy.
I thought, what am I going to say? And I thought, that's the best thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anybody else ever said, I am at your mercy? No. Who else? Have any of the rest of you had an experience of mercy? Yep.
I'm a dragon boater. And a few years ago, our dragon boat team was going to Burlington, Vermont for a festival. And I had been chosen to be the captain of that particular team. And so, I'd done the upfront work along with my co-captain. And just before, the week before, I said, okay, everybody remember, you have to bring your passport and you have to bring your health card. And so that message went out to everyone. And the team had hired a bus. And so we were on the bus between Toronto and, where you...
Ivy Lee? Ivy Lee? No, Cornwall? Ivy Lee? Cornwall.
On the bus between Toronto and Cornwall. And I went, oh my God, I didn't bring my passport. I didn't bring my health card. And I told everybody else to. But there I was without it, and so, we talked a little bit, should I, go in the luggage compartment and hide? That's when, they were getting serious about you had to have your passport to cross the border. And we decided that would be foolish, just if we had a chance to look, where I would be. And so, we drove to, I guess, the border. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? Are they going to just leave me here? And then the rest of the team goes to Burlington, and then I have that hitchhike home or whatever. And we didn't know what was going to happen. And I was trying to think, how can I get out of this? How can I get out of this? And I had no idea, and everybody else was going through. And so I was at the end of the line, and I had to go out and face the guy. And I don't know, as I was going up, I guess I got this moment of inspiration. And I said to him, I hope you're the nice one. Fortunately, he smiled. He said, well, why do I have to be the nice one? And I said, well, after I told everybody to bring their passports and their health cards, I didn't bring mine. And anyway, he could have just said, no way. But he did, go on the internet and check out and make sure that I wasn't a felon. And then he said, okay, go ahead. And then, though, because, everybody went, a lot of people went to the washroom, and we came back from the washroom, okay, everybody was going out. And another custom agent came up. And people were starting to leave, and he looked at me and he went over to the agent and he said, they're all on the same bus, just let them through. So I felt, I felt really good about not having to hitchhike back to Toronto. I experienced extreme mercy, I think.
You did.
Because custom agents are not usually quite that.
Not forgiving, yes. Not so long ago, all you had to do was pass your IDs down the aisle of the bus, and then they just gave it a quick glance. I do know. Yeah, that works on a bus too. Anybody else? Moment of mercy? Yeah.
Mine's a tiny one. So at work in my family practice, super busy, full, happy days, hard cases, easy cases, sometimes right on time, sometimes 45 minutes behind. Astonishing to me every day that when I walk into a room and I say, I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting, I'm either met with really nice mercy or real grumpiness. And it's just day after day, patient after patient, person after person, human after human. But it makes me totally appreciate people who say, no problem, you run behind for me when I need your time. Like, it's just so interesting.
Yeah.
I was a very young lawyer involved in the negotiation and missed the limitation period. Very senior lawyer on the other side, and I missed it by a couple of days. And this was a very major matter for an important client, and I was in a lot of trouble. And he looked at me and he said, young man, we've all been here. We'll just pretend that you met the time period. Didn't damage his client, so we had a negotiation to go through, so it wasn't pretty prejudice. He was hopefully, although he could have made it more difficult, but it was mercy. And I tried to use that experience in my practice for the next 4 years.
That's very cool. Anybody else? Yeah.
It's not quite your definition, but what I needed to thought of, maybe related to our conversation up front, was my mom showed me mercy over and over again when I was a child. I tried to go by the rules and do the right things, but oftentimes I didn't. Out in my head, misbehaved. And over again, she caught me, she chastised me, she corrected me, but she didn't make me feel bad about it. She just let me know she was disappointed and that all this was wrong and wanted me to do better the next time. It was a very powerful lesson for me as a child. Would you call that mercy?
Ongoing mercy, I would say, yeah. Yeah.
And my mother's name is Grace.
And your mother's name is Grace.
She epitomized
She epitomized it.
put up with me. She actually loved me.
She actually loved you. Yeah. I could make a joke here, but you know what? You are not the kind. It's church, yeah. I could make a joke here, but I think those of us who know you well know that you are a loved person because you don't kind of keep it to yourself. Yeah, I know, buttering you up, but it's true. Have any of you had an experience of mercy at the expense of somebody else? They have paid a price so that you experienced mercy. Mine was at a border. I was on my 6th trip of leading a group of people to New Orleans to rebuild after Katrina. We had 3 van loads of people. And that day, Homeland Security decided to iris check and thumbprint check all of us. One at a time. We had to stay in the vans until they called us in. We couldn't even go to the washroom without being accompanied by an agent. Of course, I, as the leader, was the last person. And the second last person went in to get done. And when they went in, my phone rang, and I opened my cell phone, and I said hi, and it was one of the women from my church. And she said, I just wanted to tell you that those cookies I packed for all of you. I said, yeah. She said, they're my glaucoma cookies. Those of you who are a little bit older or younger might know that sometimes people took marijuana for glaucoma, and she would she would dissolve marijuana into the butter and then bake her cookies. So in the back of my van was a big Tupperware container of weed cookies. And I thought, okay, I'm the last person, we're not, and then the drug dog came out. And I was a dead man. I just knew it. So I just thought, I'm going through all these scenarios in my head. A kid pulled in a brand new red Chevy. It was his mom's car, and he had pulled down the liner inside, and he had filled it with weed and then glued it back up in place. Guess where the dog went? So I feel sorry for the kid because it was his mom's new car. And anyway, we got over onto the other side. I was driving, and I pulled over, and I said to my co-driver, you're driving. He says, you've just been driving 10 minutes. I said, you're driving. I said, I need a cookie. The biblical narrative about mercy, especially if you look at the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, is not about how we individually experience it, although we do. We all have individual experiences of mercy or grace or being loved so much that it kind of gets us through everything, or we hear a parent's voice or a trusted person's voice saying, you're going to be okay, or you're great, or you are going to get through this. And that's an investment in mercy. Some of us have immediate experiences of it. The Bible, though, does not dwell on the personal. It focuses on corporate mercy, an entire people. So if there are 5 righteous in Sodom and Gomorrah, will you spare the city? Everyone in it. The other 1,000 people, however many it was, are unrighteous. But if there are 5 righteous, will you spare it? Yes, I will. The word mercy is linked in the scriptures to another word, restoration or repair. And those of you who are Latin scholars are going to correct me on this. But the Latin reparare means to restore, to put back in order, from the word to see something that needs doing and making it ready. Repair. I see the screen door has a hole in it and that flies will get in. Now I need to go to the hardware store and get a new screen to put in because I don't want I see it, I do something about it, I prepare to get it fixed. And the sense of amends for an injury by an equivalent evil done to someone, to repair a life, to repair our lives, to have somebody help repair us, actually dates right back to the 16th century. It's not that sense of just, I'm fixing the cottage, it's I'm here to help you fix your life. So the cottage repairs are not just about what we do to make our own lives or our own cottage a little bit more secure. It is to help others repair. And the scriptures will expand it even more. And so you'll get a rabbinic conversation about Abram having this conversation with God. But it's not an adversarial one. It's a working together. Maybe we can see this a little bit differently. Maybe if there are 5 people, you can spare the whole city. Let's work this out together. It is to join with God in repairing what has been broken. And one of the Hebrew words for this is tikkun. It is to be in partnership with God to repair. So, last thing I'm going to ask you here on the porch. I want you to think of one thing that is doable that you would fix in this world. What would it be? You can say screen doors if you want, but what would it be? What would you repair in this world? You can only pick one thing, though. The war in Gaza. Another one? So the rest of you besides June think the world's doing okay? Sorry?
It's not just Gaza. The UN estimates that the civil war in Yemen, which has been going on since 2013, there are at least 500,000 people died. It's even worse than Gaza. I bet you never hear about it.
No. So Gaza, Yemen, what else?
Leaders of countries who are qualified and morally capable of leading.
So you would fix it so we had leaders like that? Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Make sure all of them.
Yeah. Could go for that. No pollution. I'm with you on that one. Anybody else? What else would you fix? Yeah.
I'd like to help change things so that there's less anger in the world.
Okay. Less anger. Mm-hmm. I thought I heard another voice over here. Racism. Mm-hmm. Which is often about anger. Hockey culture. I had the privilege of presiding at the marriage of the director of women's services in London, Ontario. It's been interesting having conversations with her this week. Yeah. What else would you fix? Yes. Hunger, poverty. Yeah.
Vaccination for the children around the world.
Vaccinations. Yeah. These are all pretty big, aren't they? Yeah. That's bigger than a roof. Certainly bigger than a screen door. Do you feel helpless about these things? Yes. Do you feel hopeless about these things? No. Do you feel cynical about them? Some of you are nodding. Yeah. Because you're going, God ain't going to find 5 people righteous. Because we know what people are like. It's not going to happen. And what happens when we make that decision? Nothing. Nothing. So we do little things and we value them. So we lift our voices. We maybe step into a situation and try and diffuse the anger without getting enmeshed in it, getting hurt. We might contribute to a conversation about the whether or not hockey coaches should make sure that their players are not reading that manual about how to seduce a woman. It exists. Or to have, or maybe to say, I'm sorry, Charlotte, I'm going to embarrass you just for a second. How old are you? 10? Okay, 10 is a great age. And because for a number of reasons. A, you've got lots of energy, you see clearly, and you haven't got cynical yet. But 10 is also a good age for you to look around and say, I'm not going to take no for an answer, and I'm going to find something I can do. But what you're even better at is finding friends who will do something. It wasn't that many years ago that some of us stood with a bunch of people your age down at Queen's Park and said, you guys have to do something about global warming. But most of the people in the crowd were 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And it was wonderful to see. You have an amazing capacity to bring your peers together to make change. This is not about guilt or expectation. That's about, look what you can do. So if that's important, then find what you can do. And if she starts looking for things and she finds things that she can do, you better support her in that. Right, thank you. You can't, the cynicism ends when we say, there's just a little thing I can do, but maybe when I start, somebody else is going to start working with me on it. And maybe they will even say, if we only get 5 other people to work on this, then I will help. And see what happens. Tikkun. To rebuild, to repair together. Look around, folks. They're all here with you. Oh, gracious one, you listen. You see possibility. You welcome our voice when we plead for something better or even for more mercy. And our prayer today as your people is that we would not forget mercy. We would not forget to be merciful with others who seek our forgiveness. We would not forget to be merciful with others simply because they are in need and we can meet that need. That we would not forget that this call to mercy is not simply to us as individuals, but it's to all of us together. And so we pray as we recognize that mercy would grow. It's easy for us to say that there doesn't seem to be a lot of mercy in this world right now. And although we can celebrate individual acts of it and the things that we see that people do that sometimes even surprise us, that there are many people who deny mercy to others. If we're ever one of them, then forgive us and help us to see each other, ourselves, differently. And help us to hear the voices calling for mercy. And find others who hear that call at the same time, who will dare to learn and even to intervene and to call for real change. These phrases trip off our tongues so easily, but it's because they come from deep within. O Lord, have mercy. Amen. We are challenged some days by our need for riches or the praise of others. But we know that the Holy One is our true inheritance. First in our hearts. Go out into this world, into this day, into this week, knowing that you are treasured and that you have a creation to treasure. Amen. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate this content, please share it with your friends. Consider giving us a like, subscribing, and hitting the notification icon, as it really helps our channel. And as always, be good to you.